Hello and welcome to episode 49 of Bloggers Are Weird. I'm your host, DJ Paris, from the blog thoughtsfromparis.com, and in exactly, I can't quite do the math, but I think it's 31 days, I will be turning 40. If you'd like to spend my 40th with me, you could actually technically do that because I'm not going to be at home. I'm going to be in Baltimore at a blog conference called Blog U, which stands for Blog University. And I'm super honored because not only did they ask me to speak, I'm going to be doing a session on how to be really effective on Twitter, how to be funny and engaging, and how to get more readers to your blog or to your podcast or to your YouTube channel. The other reason I'm going to Blog U, aside from my Twitter talk, is I'm actually one of the keynotes. And I'll be talking alongside with two other wonderful people about being yourself. And I would say up until I was in my probably early 30s, I wanted to be anyone other than myself. So the idea that I am going to be speaking on this subject is very humbling, but I do believe being yourself is incredibly difficult. So, but super rewarding. So anyway, I'm excited. So if you haven't yet got tickets, I think it's sold out, but you can try. Go to Blog U Conference, that's the letter U, bloguconference.com, and see if tickets are available. Baltimore, Maryland, the weekend of the 10th. On the show today, we have blogger Tara Wood from the blog LoveMorningWood.com, which should clue you into her personality and sense of humor. She's a mom in Georgia. She has 7 children, still finds time to write. And we talk at length about how putting yourself out there and trying new things, in particular scary things, can oftentimes lead to some pretty amazing experiences and unlock passions that you didn't know you had. So in honor of Tara, grab the Today Sponge or whatever your contraceptive of choice is. I don't know what the Today Sponge is, so I'm going to go with that one. Sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Thank you, lady I've never met before. Thank you, lady I've never met, for saying my baby is cute. I think so too. Yes, ma'am, I agree. Babies are really wonderful. Oh, we're going to be chatting for a bit, aren't we? Sure, you can touch your toes and then say, tell mommy she needs to put some socks on you. Your toesies is cold. Yes, they are. Say, my toesies is cold, mama. It's 70 degrees outside though, so I'm going to act like I didn't hear you say that, new friend. You're right. She is chubby, isn't she? It's okay to say it. You don't have to whisper. You won't hurt her feelings because she doesn't understand your words. She's like a baby. Why, yes, I am breastfeeding. You're inquiring if my breasts still contain milk. That's not at all weird. I'm tempted to ask if you still menstruate, but I understand boundaries. No, she's not our first child, but our 7th, in fact. I can tell by the way your eyes widen to approximately the size of manhole covers that you find this shocking. You even take a step back and then steady yourself on your shopping cart. If I hadn't spoken the words myself, I would almost think that I just informed you that I am married to a man-goat and we are raising our children on a hearty diet of devil worship and meth. I mean, since you asked, yes, we did know what we were getting ourselves into. That's so funny. How about you, though? When you chose that dingy-ass seasonal sweatshirt emblazoned with a cornucopia outlined in orange puffy glitter glue and spilling its bounty of grapes, clementines, leaves, and whatever the fuck else all across your bosom, did you realize what you were getting yourself into? I'm asking because that shit is fugly. Maybe you have progressive glaucoma and can't really tell what you're pulling out of your closet. Maybe one of your kids made it for you and you can't bear to not wear it, at least once during every Thanksgiving season since 1982. I don't know. I'm grasping at straws here, lady. I want to suggest that you cut it up and repurpose it as dust cloths or perhaps a cozy cushion for your cat's window perch. I'd bet money that you have 15 cats. But I don't because I have remarkable restraint, except for the procreation, am I right? Okay, well, looks like your groceries are all backed up and ready to go. I do appreciate your offer of the Charmin coupon you didn't get to use. You see, you're so right. We do use a lot of toilet paper, but I'm all set. We love trees and the earth and mostly use our hands and the shower curtain for our wiping needs. But hell, give me that applique sweatshirt and we'll have us some recycled washable butt wipes. And that's a win-win for both of us. Just when I needed you most. We start getting all sentimental this time of year, don't we? Taking stock, counting blessings, giving thanks, slowing down to recognize and appreciate friends, family, employment, good health, and society finally accepting that leggings are pants because they are, damn it. I'm adding an unexpected yet undeniably valuable item to my thankful list this year. Recently, I was presented with the unlikely opportunity to recognize a bodily reaction that many of us take for granted. It is readily available in times of fear, surprise, excitement, spicy foods, and yet we rarely speak of it. I drove over to my best friend's house to drop off something on her porch. They have this gray cat, Lola, who likes to hang out just behind the bushes in front of their porch. Oftentimes, as I walk down the pathway leading to Nikki's home, Lola will saunter out of the shrubbery and escort me to the door. On this occasion, I heard the familiar rustling of leaves to the left of the walkway. I expected to see chill, slow-moving Lola emerge from her hiding place and join me for the next 20 steps or so. I was not at all alarmed, but already leaning forward to preparing to squat down to pet the cat. Instead, an ordinary gray squirrel shot out of the bushes like a furry bullet. He was traveling at approximately 2,500 miles an hour, and his trajectory was across the top of my foot. Did you hear me? Across the top of my foot. Like his clawed-ass feet met with the top of my boot. There was a quick scratching noise against the leather, and then he was gone. I reacted in what I assume looked like to the neighbor standing in her yard. I was performing my own version of river dance with a spastic wild abandon while hopped up on meth. My knees met my chest over and over again as my feet stomped against the concrete in what must have what sounded like almost a deliberate pattern. I pulled my arms in, bent and fists clenched close to my rib cage. A blood-curdling motherfucker flew from my lips. Birds that had been resting in trees from above fled the scene, and just as I fired a shotgun into the air at a quiet meadow. The squirrel was long up a tree by the time I realized I was doing an awkward defense tap dance. After what seemed like a solid 5 minutes of involuntary jogging in place, I was calm enough to continue my walk to the porch. The furtive attack left me shaking and unnerved, but then ultimately relieved and aware of something I've always taken for granted. I am ever grateful for a fully functioning and swiftly reactive anal muscle clench. The ass sphincter deserves recognition and praise. No longer should it be spoken of in hushed tones. Let's discuss it freely around the family dinner table and in staff meetings. When we greet one another, we should ask, "How are you?" And then, "All well with your clench?" Weird Al should maybe write a song about it. And the Still of the Tight, that'd be a fun title. Had that muscle failed me, I'd have absolutely shit my pants. Actual dookie traveling down one or both pant legs. What then? The neighbor would have seen me go into random public tap dance to walking all stiff-legged like Frankenstein's monster toward the front door. I'd have had to ask Nikki if I could take a shower and borrow clothes and to please ignore the odor. I'd have been late to pick up my little kids from preschool. I'd have had to explain, "I'm so sorry I'm late. An asshole squirrel launched a blitzkrieg across the top of my foot. See, I thought it was my friend's cat Lola, but it wasn't, so then I shit myself. Obviously, I had to shower and change clothes and all. I would like to say that it won't happen again, but how the hell do I know? Who knew squirrels were such shifty-ass mofos? Not me. Not until today." It's simple, really. As this holiday season approaches, while we're all considering our lives, where we've been, where we're going, what we value, maybe give a little thought to your anal muscle. Its rapid response to an unexpected adrenaline dump could save you from taking a different kind of dump right in the middle of the mall food court. That muscle, quiet, unseen, and modest, doesn't ask for much. Muscles can't talk. Yet, aside from the heart, could possibly be the most important bit of soft tissue in our bodies. It is here that I'd like to publicly thank my own anal muscle. Thank you, sphincter. Your clench is unwavering. You were there just when I needed you most. I vow to never, ever take you for granted again. You are important. You matter. You saved my pants.
Okay, so I am speaking with Tara Wood, who is sounds like one word.
Yeah.
Tara Wood.
Yeah.
Yeah, it sounds like a type of wood. Like there's a joke there. I haven't quite found it. You've already made the obvious joke about wood into a brand, and anyway, Tara, I should get through your bio before going off into horribly unfunny tangents. But Tara is a 40-something mother of 7 children, and she once would like everyone to know they is with the same man who has sired all 7.
It's true.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's something to. Well, I guess it's better than having 7 different. Yeah, life would be much probably worse for you if they were 7 different gentlemen. So congrats on that. And she is also the creator and writer at LoveMorningWood.com. Nice. I love a good pun, and that is about as great a pun as exists.
Thank
I have
you.
a pun. My website is a pun on my last name, and so is yours. So
Yes.
I think that is what is
We're
that
kindred
term?
spirits, at
That's
least.
it.
Yes.
I knew it had started with kin, and I thought, no, we're not kin, because you're from Georgia, and they use that word to mean family.
Yes.
So where are you from? Are you actually from the South, or did you move
No,
there?
no, no. I am here. I was born and raised here in Augusta, Georgia. I moved to Atlanta briefly, um, very briefly, and then we came back here. It's just a great place to raise children. Um, all of my my parents are here. My husband's parents are here, so we have a shit ton of help on the weekends. We can farm the kids out to the grandparents. So that's one of the reasons it's free babysitting. But it is a beautiful part of the South, and yeah, I've been here. I've traveled a bit, but yeah, we've planted our roots are here.
Yeah, well, when you have 7, I think any additional help is obviously useful, and particularly having 7 children and having family nearby is pretty essential, I would think, unless had a bunch of nannies
Yeah,
to watch.
no, it's imperative. I mean, I have an amazing support system here, and thankfully, all of you know, the children's our children's grandparents are still in really good health, and they like our kids, so that's good. They like having them
Yeah.
around. So I mean, it's nice. So often grandparents live across the country, and
Oh yeah, I didn't know mine.
Skyping is always nice, but it's not quite the same as being able to touch and feel and go to the movies and stuff with your grandparents. It's a gift that they get to grow up knowing them, and
Yeah,
they're all
my
within 10 minutes of us.
My that is really fortunate. My grandparents were most of them. I won't mention which ones were and weren't, but my grandparents were a perfect triple threat of lived across the country. Skype wasn't invented, so we couldn't do that. Mixed with didn't really give a shit that much.
Yeah.
So mine, nice enough people, I guess, but didn't really know them well, and they didn't know me well, and that was fine. However, my girlfriend, maybe it's a Catholic thing, because my girlfriend is Catholic and comes from she has 4 other siblings, and she has these unbelievable, and so do many of my friends, but they have these unbelievably deep and intimate
Yeah.
relationships with their grandparents. And I go, my grandparents are nice. There's only one that's still living, but the rest they were fine. But I didn't know them, and I certainly never had a conversation in any meaningful way with any of them, and they were older. To be fair, they were really older too. But yeah, so I think that is truly a special thing, and um,
Yeah, it is nice. I mean, it's weird when because you're blood related and you feel like you just inherently are supposed to have these like intense memories of like fishing with grandpa and stuff like that, but shit doesn't always pan out like that. So
I have exactly one memory of a conversation I had with my mother's father, who, by the way, didn't live that far away. He was in Iowa, but he was an old man. I mean, my he had my mother when he was older, and so by the time I was around, he was a million years old and just didn't again just didn't give a shit. And but he would come visit. And he would come visit because he was still working, and he would really come to visit my mom. And he was hard of hearing too. I'm probably being tougher on him than what really happened. No, you know what? I'm not being tougher on him because he never once had a conversation with me. The only time this man ever spoke to me, I was, I don't know, maybe I was 10, 11, 12, and for some reason my mom or somebody had taught me that if you wanted to clip your fingernails, you were supposed to soak them in water, for hot water in the sink for, like you fill up the sink and for like 5 minutes.
yeah.
Now, I didn't know you didn't have to do that. I wasn't, such a fancy, delicate person. I just thought that that's what I did. That's what I was taught. So I'm doing that. And my grandfather, the one time he speaks to me, is walking by and looks at me with my hands in the sink, and sort of gives me a, what are you doing? And I said, oh, explained what it is. And he goes, what, you don't, no, that's stupid. You don't have, don't, and I was like, all right, so that was it. That was our one conversation.
That's
And then I was like,
funny because that is a thing between my husband and I. He soaks his feet in the bathtub before he clips his toenails. And I was like, the fuck are you doing? I've never seen that in my life. I mean,
what? Well,
I,
he needed a shaming grandfather. That put a stop to that behavior right then. I never did that again.
I mean,
Um,
you could almost like, it's one of you could like divide the country. Like, do you soak your nails or do you not soak your nails? It could be like this national debate because I had never heard of that in my life. I just, go straight at them. But
that's
so what do you
really
do
funny.
now? Do you just go straight in and
Straight at him.
okay?
Straight at him. I never did it. I never did it again. I'm like, I don't want to be yelled at by an 85-year-old man ever
Well,
again.
good. I mean,
So
I guess that was one life lesson he gave to you. So yay.
yes, he was clearly a wise sage. Uh,
That's
uh,
hilarious.
yeah, it is funny though. I do have one cousin who is my age. She's actually 10 days younger than me. So we're, the same age. And she grew up in a different part of the country, but, not that my grandfather would apparently come and visit her as well. And she has different memories where she goes, oh my God, we used to have these long conversations. I'm like, what are you talking? There's no way. I mean, was I such an asshole that he wouldn't, So she actually did have that experience, but maybe it's a grandfather, granddaughter thing
It could
where
be.
maybe yeah, I think there's probably that's more exciting to a grandfather to have a granddaughter, maybe. I don't, maybe that's kind of maybe he could have corrected some of the mistakes he made maybe as a father. Maybe that's like kind of a way to just,
Yes.
I think there's probably a little bit of that. But anyway, yeah, I have none of those. But anyway, let's get back to you.
Yes.
So your website is lovemorningwood.com also, and I got completely sidetracked. You are actually extremely active on your Facebook page, which is Morning Tara, Tara Wood. So Morning Tara Wood, or just search for, you know,
Yeah,
uh,
you can
Morning Wood.
search Love Morning Wood and it'll come up on Facebook. But for some reason, if you type it in, to the the www.facebook.com, it's /Morning Tara Wood. I'm not sure why it's done like that, but yeah, I'm much more right now active on my Facebook blog page just because we have a 10-month-old and I haven't really had the opportunity to sit down and write many essays. So it's more just like little quick anecdotes that have happened throughout the day or funny little quick stories, because that's really all the time I have to do anything right now. And then, my personal page has almost become a second blog as well, where I post more about the kids or just silly little observations. But yeah, love Morning Wood.
Yeah, it's and you and I are in a Facebook group together, a humor group,
Yep.
and that's really fun. And you also just did something which I have tremendous respect for. You went and spoke at Listen to Your Mother down in Atlanta, which, if you're not familiar with that, they do them, gosh, in about every city now, where Ann Imig put this together years ago, where you go and you tell a story about in this case, your mom, and they choose, I don't know, was it about a dozen speakers or so, or
Yeah, I think it's 12 to 13, somewhere in there.
and they get many many entries. So to be asked is quite an honor. And so you just recently did that, right?
I did. You know, honestly, I didn't want to be selected, but because you know what I do is always behind the computer screen, and there's a safety in that. Really, how your words are perceived, or it's measured in likes and shares. And um, but I kept, I'm telling my kids, I'm like, if you want to do something, take a chance, just try it, even if you fail. But I recognized that I wasn't doing that. So, um, in, January 2016, it wasn't necessarily a resolution, but I read that they were going to start doing the auditions, and the closest one to me was Atlanta, which is about 2 hours away. And I'd already written a piece, and I'd heard, that typically the shows would like more humor pieces, and the theme just has to be motherhood. So it can be, lessons that your mother taught you, or that you've taught your kid, or whatever, just little anecdotal stories. So I had a piece that I'd already written, but that I beefed up. And I went in, and it was about examining one of my 7 kids' assholes for pinworms, because that's what you have to do. You have to look in your kid's asshole. And so I wrote it in a way that was just graphically true and funny and gross. And it was just one of those things, like I never imagined, when I was holding my baby in the hospital, that I was going to be asking her to, pucker out her anal orifice so that I could see if there was a nematode family living in there. Um, so yeah, I was cast, and I was terrified. I was delighted and honored, but also terrified, because I've never read in front of people. So it's this auditorium, and it's you, the podium, a spotlight, and a microphone, and then there's a camera where they record your reading. And then the videos are uploaded to YouTube, I think June or July. But it was,
Well, and there's several hundred people in the audience.
yes, there are several hundred people in the audience, and I did have family members there, and some friends of mine from high school that live in Atlanta now that came, and several friends that drove up from Augusta to come support me. So I knew I had people there that loved me. My oldest daughter came, which was a delight. My mom, of course. Um, but
So just one of the 7 kids
yeah,
decided
well,
to make it.
it was the
That's not a good ratio.
it was the oldest and the youngest, who was only 10 months and still nursing, so she had to come. But my other
Yeah.
kids, they just it would have been a nightmare, because they can't sit still, and they would have
Oh,
destroyed
I
the
know.
show.
Of
But
course, of course.
yeah, I wasn't sure what kind of response I was going to get. I mean, my directors laughed, and my castmates laughed when we had our rehearsals, but it was an unexpected piece. I read right after this woman named Heidi Zelli, who I adore, but her piece was just heart wrenching. The first time I heard it, I was heaving, and it just, it was painful, painful. And then they put me right after her. And
Right.
so I was like, this is horrible. How can I follow her? So I was listening to the Shins while she was reading. And then, when it was time to go out, for me, I just went out there and it was terrifying. I couldn't see the audience, which was kind of great. But my first few sentences, my voice was, cracking and warbly. But then, I got that first laugh and I loosened up and it was just electric. The feeling of the immediate response of people connecting to your words or laughing, and it was an amazing feeling, and it was just really a natural high. I completely understand why stand-up comedians crave that and love it. It's to be immediately validated is something I've never experienced before, and now I'm like searching for the next time I can go read in front of a bunch of people. It was pretty amazing. I'm really damn proud of myself for that.
Well, and so that kind of brings, us together in a way because um, you had on this very small group that you and I are part of.
Right.
You had mentioned, I think it might have even been on your own, that you were thinking about doing more of this, whether it's reading or in public somewhere, or doing a podcast, or other speaking engagements or whatever. And then I thought, oh, well, that's pretty interesting because that isn't usually the trajectory of a blogger. Bloggers, well, many of them are just introverted, so
Sure.
I think I accented the wrong syllable there. I said introverted
You went
instead
you
of,
put the emphasis on the wrong
yeah.
syllable.
There you go. And I thought, well, that's interesting. It's so funny. There are many people I've asked many people to do the show who have said no because they're just, a big deal and are too busy, and that's fine. But then there are a lot of people who really want to do it, but are, they have fear, which, that's, they don't do it. And so I thought that was very interesting. So can you talk about that? You are you thinking about doing more of this, or?
Yeah, it just feels more sort of a natural uh the next natural step for me, for my personality. I am I'm not super extroverted, but I do love talking to people. I'm animated. I have a sort of joyful disposition. I love making people laugh. I don't always have time to sit down and write essays, but I do.
Sure.
I love communicating with people and connecting with people. And I just think that this is another way. I would love to go to do speaking engagements. I would love to maybe even, this scares the bejesus out of me, is to maybe come up with a short stand-up set. But then again, that's just something that I would like to be able to say, even if I fail miserably and people throw food at me, that I tried it. And I mean, stand-up comedians are constantly tweaking their work. Okay, that joke didn't work, and how writers do. I mean, you're just self-editing, really. But
Right.
it was just, it was just a really neat, immediate, like I said, validation, as opposed to when you write and you pour yourself out there and then you don't know. I mean, it could just sit there and two people see it and you've poured your whole soul into it, or, you think it's the most hysterical thing ever and it gets shared twice. With this, you have almost, a captive audience, and you can be animated and funny and use your facial expressions, and it could be almost like acting. But I'd love to do improv. There's all kinds of things. I feel like that I have different avenues, and I think even if I suck royally at them, I'm definitely willing to give it a go.
Well, yeah, and you are going to suck royally at anything you try that's new 99% of the time when you try something new. And but that's normal and part of the process. What I think is so cool is that you tried this, yeah, it sounds like you had a great experience. Whether or not, it pushed through to the audience, it's up to the gods anyway, right? So,
Hmm.
but it turned you on. So afterwards, you're like, that was exciting. That moved your needle, and now you're seeing other opportunities and or maybe other avenues. And you were talking about this in our Facebook group, and I thought, the only reason this exists is because you took a chance, you sent in a submission, and now you're like, ooh, I really enjoyed that. And
Yeah.
I think that's why I always I'm always more amazed, and I'm not one of those, like, I'm not one of those people who ever wants to eat at the same restaurant twice. And it's not because there's anything inherently wrong with that. It's just, what if, and I live in Chicago, there's a million restaurants, so it's easier to do this. But I always think, I'm sure there's something that's really amazing that I'll never know about if I don't. It's easy for me to go down the street to the same place, or I could go online, do a little research, and find something, and all of a sudden now I'm eating maybe a different type of food. And if it sucks, oh well, I'll go back to the place down the street. So I've always really I've always told everyone, anyone that asks, like, people will say, well, I want to do a podcast, or I want to do some YouTube videos, or I want to write, if they're doing those things. And I say, just do all of them.
Yeah.
Figure out what moves your needle the most, and then full steam ahead. But you're not going to know until you try a million things.
Right. I think you're absolutely right. And the trying something new analogy works for so many things. And the thing is that if you know, as a creative person, a writer or an actor or whatever, you have to be unafraid of looking foolish. I mean,
Right.
there's power in being okay with looking like an idiot. you know,
Right.
I mean, that's why with my writing and stuff, I have no problem pointing out the ridiculously failed things that I've done in my life or in my day, or I mean, I'm a terrific mess, but I'm real, and if I can make fun of myself, then I feel like I've kind of got this, it's okay if you laugh with me, because I'm laughing at myself, so it's okay. But there is a lot of relief, and there's a lot of um power when you just let go of expecting everything to be perfect and just trying it with the full knowledge of you may look like a complete moron, but just have fun and just be proud of the fact that you're trying something else.
I really have never cared that much about results. I care in my own life. I'm one of those guys that, if I, like, when I started to go to personal trainer, they sat me down, and they're, because I was signing up for a full year of training, and it was really expensive, and they want to make sure that they set the right expectations so that I'm happy, and all that stuff. And so they started asking me what my goals are, and I stopped them, and I go, I don't have any goals. I go, my one goal is that, you guys put me through the whatever exercises. You're the experts. I'm not going to fight you on it, because they would say, like, well, how much muscle do you want to gain, and how much weight do you want to lose? And I'm like, that's irrelevant to me. I said, what I care about is that when I'm doing an exercise, if you let me wimp out, if you don't push me
Mm-hmm.
beyond what I would normally do on my own, I will not go to my potential. And I said, your job is to push me when push me to the next level. That's why I'm paying you. It's not like they have special exercises, that secret, techniques and formulas that no one knows about.
Right.
But I need them to, get me to do one more push-up when I'm collapsing. So what I've, and I said, I don't care if I lose weight or gain muscle. That'll either happen or it won't. And I don't really care, because at the end of the day, I don't get pride looking at myself. I mean, I might feel good if I look nice in the mirror, but I don't think to look. What I care about is walking out of the gym going, I just
Gate.
did something really hard
Yeah.
and I didn't want to do it.
Yes.
And so, I think, this is a great example of you doing something, and public speaking is scary for a lot of people.
It really is. I mean, I'm not sure when I'll have the occasion to do it. We do. I have an essay in Jen Mann's upcoming anthology. I just want to be perfect. So we're planning on doing some book signings with that, and we'll be reading not those particular essays in the book, but some of our other short things. But I'm hoping that opens the door to me being invited to speak to other groups. I just feel more and more comfortable, but I feel like if I just stay right where I am, then you know I'm never going to know what I could do. So I have to push through fear, because otherwise that's where your limits are, and I don't want to be limited. I want to know what my full potential is.
Yeah, it's funny. I was at a blog conference last summer and I sat next to a woman and I don't remember her name or the name of her book, but we were in a session and she was introducing herself to me and we were just sort of chatting before the session started. And she said, "Oh, I wrote a book and it actually did pretty well about," and she like tackled one fear of hers every week and then wrote about it and then turned it into a book. And anyway, her, during the session, you could say, "Here's where I'm struggling in." I don't remember what the session was necessarily about. Maybe it was ideas of next projects or something. But whatever it was, you went around in a circle and everyone said what they were struggling with. And I remember what she said was, she says, "Well, I did this really great thing, and now I don't have any more ideas." And I said, "Well, are you out of fears?" And
Yeah.
she said no. And I said, "Well, what if you just kept doing that? If you're telling me it sold well, you're telling me it was the most exciting year of your life, and I'm sure it was insanely, difficult, but also rewarding. And, like, why would you stop?" And it was funny because sometimes you just need other people to sort of, give you the slap across the face that you aren't willing to give yourself. And she says, and it's not because of me, I'm sure other people told her the same thing, but she just kind of went like, "Oh yeah, I'll just do that."
Yeah.
It was like,
It's a light bulb
it,
moment. Yeah.
well, and I thought, in not only, hey, whatever, maybe that's good advice, but here's the thing about that particular thing, of that process of doing something scary every week. She will have the richest life of anyone I know if she actually continues to do scary things. That is maybe the biggest, the best advice I'd ever heard was, whatever scares you but is a good idea, do lots of that.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah. I mean, I think that if it gives you butterflies and it terrifies you, then that probably means something good. I mean, unless it's, cliff jumping or without,
right?
but something, I mean, anything that is worth doing is worth, getting nervous about,
Oh, for sure.
because because that means you're stepping out of your comfort zone. And I'll be 43 in June, and I'm kind of bummed that I've waited this long to be brave. But my children, what I want for them to do, it's propelled me. It's made me braver because I can't expect them to to go for whatever it is they want that is on the other side of their fear. If I'm like, you go do it, mommy's all right, I'm just going to sit here behind my computer and just do this, plug along. Because I think I do have a lot to offer, and I feel like, even if I, like I said, if the stand up doesn't work or improv doesn't work or speaking engagements don't work, that's okay. I mean, I tried it and it's new, and there's other stuff out there for me.
Yeah, and well, and to be fair to you, you've been busy,
Yeah.
right? So,
I have been busy. Yes. Every day.
and it would be so easy, and and it, no, I mean, what the way I'm going to say it is going to sound a little, somewhat insulting, but it's not. But you could continue on not doing scary things because your day is full anyway.
It is. But I think it makes me a better person, um, to do the scary things. Like, and this has kind
Sure.
of become all mine. I've only been writing and doing this blog since 2013, I think. I have no formal writing training whatsoever, as I'm sure people will be like, oh my God, her stuff is full of run on sentences and grammatical errors, but that's okay. Um, so, this whole writing thing is relatively new to me. So that was scary. And then as
Sure.
my, the following, my readers grew, that was scary because I was like, oh shit, I don't want to let anybody down. I had the whole imposter syndrome. I was like, these people think I'm something I'm not. I'm not a writer. But then what it became, it snowballed into me being braver and more confident and finding my voice. And in life, I deal with things differently. For the longest time, I was in this box. I don't want to say this because it might offend somebody, or what if this person from church hears that I say the word fuck, and what are they going to think about me? And now you know, I don't tell people how to live their lives whatsoever, but I tell, there's no secrets with my life. I mean, this is how I am. And it's just, it feels really good to find my my voice and be confident in it. And I never want to hurt anybody, but I don't mind pissing people off a little bit, or getting some hackles up. So this is kind of outside of motherhood and being a wife. This is something that's all mine, and it's really really cool. um, and so this being brave and taking new steps is something that is autonomous and that I'm doing on my own, hoping my children see what I'm doing. They probably don't, because they're playing their fucking Nintendo DS all day or whatever. But um I do hope that they see it as they get older. But I'm kind of mostly doing it for me at this point, and that's pretty rad.
Well, yeah, and I would assume it's funny. I go to a lot of conferences which tend to be, mostly attended by women, and there is oftentimes an emphasis on this idea of do something for you. And as a relatively centered person, I'm always like, why don't they just always do something for themselves? But I'm there, well, I'm not a woman and I'm not a mother and I'm not raising 7 children. So easy for me to say, I have a dog and a cat, but they don't pretty much take care of themselves. So I only do things for me. But I have time to do
Sure.
other things for other people. But I always have time for me. And then obviously, somebody who has a full calendar and other responsibilities, doesn't necessarily have a ton of time. So I'm amazed, and I'm really impressed by the fact that I don't think I've ever met a blogger with 7 children who writes that much. I'm sure they exist, but there's not many of them.
Yeah, I mean, so many of my writer friends have, one kid or two kids, and they struggle to find time every day
Right.
because there's so few hours in the day. And even if their kids are in school, there's freaking laundry and errands and doctor's appointments, and it's overwhelming. And then if you let time tick by and you don't write, then you sort of start losing your confidence. You start questioning yourself. Am I a writer? Am I funny? But and that's what I did. When I was pregnant with our last child, it was a rough pregnancy. And humor is something that you can't force. It's just,
Right.
it just is, or it isn't. And I think readers can tell um when when you're just trying. It's not improvisational. It's just a different kind. It's just forced, and it's you can tell that. So I got out of writing essays type stuff on my .com and submitting to other places because I didn't feel it. And then it's very very difficult to carve out time to write. And the longer you don't write, the harder it is to get back into it. The more self-doubt creeps in. But, I mean, not, not even just having 7 children, but mothers with 1 children, or even just, working moms. Gosh, they have a full-time job. They come home, they start their second shift, and they're still feeling guilty because they have this passion to write and they can't fit it in because there are only so many hours in the day. It's frustrating. It really is. I think most writers are frustrated, but then you hear stories about, one of the great American novels being written on the night shift when I can't even remember who it was, Steinbeck or something, was working at a train depot.
Right.
So, I mean, sometimes I swear I tell my kids, I'm like, Mom's got to go poop, and then I go in the bathroom and I write a funny status update real quick. I mean, I find time when I can. But then I try not to beat myself up if I can't. But it is very difficult to balance a creative passion with motherhood and all that it entails. Um, so, and so many of my writer friends, I hear them just lamenting that they have this need, to get these words out. And it's incredibly frustrating because their kid's been puking for 3 days, and they're being pulled between motherhood and this creative passion that's for them. And, resentment can creep in. So it's tough, but, um, I hope everybody can find time at some point to get a little, creativity out there, because it everybody's words matter, I think,
Well, yeah, no, I don't think everybody's words matter, but I think actually I'd say 97% of this country's words don't matter. But the 3%, yes, the no, I no, yeah, no, I think everybody should do enough random, or not random, but enough varied experiences to find out what excites you, and then just keep figuring out a way to insert that into your life.
Yes.
And it's certainly not easy, in your case, the time commitment with that you already have. But I think, it's like when people say they don't have time, and certainly I would never argue with them that they do, but I think, like, well, what's your not even happiness, like what's your fulfillment worth? And is it just absolutely impossible? Okay, well, maybe if you have a shitty partner, maybe it is. But
Right.
that's where you can, as a mom, you've put enough credits in the bank account of the relationship to be like, hey, I need a little time to explore, and you're gonna keep doing the mom stuff anyway. So I think
Hmm.
that's so important, and I bet you probably don't have a tremendous amount of patience, for people who maybe aren't as busy maybe as you might be, who then maybe talk about what they want to do and then not do it. And
Yeah, I mean, I try to not walk in other people's shoes, and,
sure,
but yeah, I mean, I don't know. People have so many different issues, and I don't know what's going on. So I just, when people are like, you're a super mom, how do you do all this? And I'm like, I'm not a super mom. I mean, like, I have mounds and mounds of laundry because I chose to sit down and write this day. I
right.
mean, there's going to be shit that doesn't get done. I mean, it just has to. Um, but I everybody has their own path, and I want to raise everybody up, everybody that's struggling, and really, writers that want to write, they're having a hard time. We message. I have got several friends that I message, and we just check in and just encourage each other, because that, especially coming from other mothers that are writers, it's a really cool community. It's not like this with everybody, but most of my female mom writer friends are just badass and
For
supportive,
sure.
and not at all. competitive or
Right.
shitty. I mean, as far as I know, the women that I know are absolutely phenomenal, and when the waters rise, all boats rise, and it's a great thing to encourage each other. So I just, it's hard as a human person. We all go through shit. I went through a shitty day today, but but I'm happy to
Yeah.
be here talking to you. And um it's just, you get knocked down and you get back up and you dust yourself off and try again tomorrow.
Well, and the irony is the getting knocked down is actually the best
Yeah.
stuff because that's where growth happens. That's where new experiences happen, and that's and you were telling me were you guys planning on moving, or is this a job thing, or what
Well, no,
was
we're staying here, but there are nine of us, nine people
right?
living in a three-bedroom house.
Oh my God.
We're packed in here like a clown car. We have two dogs, the medium-sized dogs. So this was supposed to be, like a 3-year house. Well, we had like four kids since we've moved in this house. My husband took a different route with his professional life. So we were kind of stuck here, and now we're in a position where we can move. Um, but so you're in real estate, I think. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's so we found this house that we loved, and we were about to make an offer, and then we found out that, oh no, wait, you've got to sell your house first. But
Right.
imagine all of the stuff that nine people have accumulated in a house, and I'm just like,
Oh,
how are
can't
we going
imagine.
to show this house? It's going to be horrible. Like, I mean, because we still actively live here. Like,
Right.
so yeah, I had my heart set on a house that we were going to make a place a contract on, or an offer, and that fell through about 2 hours ago. So
Oh,
I'm crying on the inside a little bit, but talking to you has made me feel a little bit better.
I'm quite comforting.
You really are.
Oh, I'm not. I'm not. But yeah, no, I'm sorry. That
No,
sucks.
that's okay. But you know what? Talking about what a badass I am has made me feel better.
Well, there you go. Yeah, I mean, self-soothing, right? I mean, I never learned how to do it, but I've heard it's great.
Yeah,
Um,
I took a Xanax booster too, so that helped.
well, that was the path I used to. I used to. That was that was most of my life. No, yeah, it's the weirdest thing now. I'm to the point where I've had enough therapy, um, and and not just therapy, but enough help and guidance to where I'm actually like, oh, I feel ultra shitty for something happens. I feel bad. This just happened a few nights ago. And I actually stayed with the feeling. I let it, I
Uh-huh.
didn't run. And you can run a million different ways. You could
Sure.
go watch television. You could, inject heroin between your toes. You could do
Right.
it. There's a lot, you could, go raid the Haagen-Dazs. There's a million things you can do. Or you can do the hardest and most brave and scariest of all, which is I'm going to sit here in this horrible pain and tolerate it,
Yeah.
and then the funniest thing, and I've been practicing this for years and not always that well. But every single time I actually find the courage to do it, it passes usually within a few minutes. It's not even like days of misery. And I know some people do struggle with things like depression. I don't,
Sure.
but just regular shitty things happen. I feel shitty, and and I'm able to sit with it. And lo and behold, just like every professional told me for years and years, sit with it and it'll process and you'll be better off for it. And but it is
Yeah, I mean, I've been sober for
oh, I forgot you're
yeah,
sober,
yeah,
Chris.
I've been sober for 11 years now, and
Oh my
and
gosh.
and that's, you're absolutely right about that, because if you run into something that makes you want to self-medicate, and then you do that, and you alter your reality with drugs or alcohol or whatever, I'm prescribed Xanax for life.
Not judging. No
Yeah,
judgment here.
but I mean, I don't abuse it. I take it as prescribed. But I did abuse alcohol and maybe a few other things back in the day. But when you do that, when you self medicate to get through a shitty feeling, and then that medication is gone, you're still left with the same situation. So, and then you still have to face it. All you've done is avoid it for as long as you stayed drunk or high or whatever. Um, but if you can sit with it, process the feelings, and get through it, I mean, then you know, you have made traction. You can figure out, and you probably have tools to actually make progress as a
Well, yeah, and you've learned you can coexist with pain, and
yes.
it's okay. It's
Yes.
one of those things where um, I think, for me, it was not okay to feel sad. It was not okay to be angry or to feel. It was just none of those were okay, and that got stuck in my head, and it was not okay not to be perfect and a lot of things, and so as a result, there was no way I could tolerate those feelings. And
Sure.
and and so I'm now, it's been quite a bit of time, but I'm now like, oh my gosh, I actually sat in sadness, and it didn't kill me, and it and I
Right.
and I was able to function, and it did, so it is,
I mean,
yeah,
it's valuable to be able to acknowledge, feelings. We are life is incredibly imperfect. Days are imperfect, hours, minutes can be imperfect. But if you know, we have these emotions because they're natural, So,
right.
I mean, to take the time to feel them, understand them, and in a with a clear mind, work through them, you actually, you know, you end up better in the end because you are stronger. I mean, to not I hate that cliche, what doesn't kill you makes you stronger, but that shit's true. I mean, it can light a fire under your ass to get shit done.
Well, exactly. And I know for me, and I've kind of taken the last few years and written very sporadically and not regularly like I used to, and it's bothered me. And every
Hmm.
time that feeling comes up, I I just push it away, or I did for a long time. And it's to the point now where I'm like, oh, I'm doing that again, where I have this natural feeling of like you should be doing something creative. You need to carve out time to do it. It's easy to not find time to do it because even in my life where I'm not as busy as you, I still am pretty busy, and easier not to do it. And I literally push that awful feeling of like I should be doing something, and not because someone told me to or not because it's a shame thing. It's just an internal like you should be doing writing, and I haven't been much. And as a result, I feel shitty, and that's a signal, and it's okay
Right.
to. And if I were to sit with that signal, it would, like you said, light a fire and get me probably in front of the keyboard. But anyway, you have a busy life, and you have another home to go scout out, I'm
Yeah.
sure. So and children to whatever you do with them, feed them, I guess.
Yeah, they like to eat occasionally.
I have a lastly, last thing. I have a friend who had a baby about a year ago, and I never thought she would like have the capability. She's an attorney, and just somebody who had a just never thought she'd be able to like handle having a child. And I asked her, I said, the thing that scares me, I mean, this is how immature I am. So the thing that scares me the most is like, I really just don't want to change any diapers. I just don't want to do that. And I said, I know I'm going to just ultimately have to change diapers. That's part of the deal. Although I don't feel like men used to change diapers. But anyway, fine. I'm going to be changing diapers, I'm sure. But I said, it really grosses me out. I don't want to see like little private parts and stuff. And she goes, it's super gross, and every time I do it, it's super gross. And she goes, I'm barely used to it, and it's a year later. So I felt a little bit better. Like, okay, I'm not so like,
No,
unfit.
you're not a weirdo at all. I will tell you though, I think that most parents would agree that changing their own child's diaper is about 1,000 times less disgusting than changing some other kid's diaper. I mean,
But I would never do
yeah, I
that.
mean that.
Like I would never offer that service to
Right,
anyone.
right. I mean, I've had to do that, but for some reason, it with your first kid, the first few.
No, it's magical. It's special.
I mean, you don't want to like rub their shit all over you because it's like some kind of, it's
Ah,
nothing like that. But it really is not, because that's your kid, and you just sort of get used to it and you do what you have to do. And if you ever have a kid, you'll be a fantastic dad, I can tell.
oh well, yeah, well, I've got everyone
Well,
fooled.
you've kept your dog and cat alive, right? That's good.
That's true.
So
That's true.
look,
They're
that's
they're
great.
alive, and dog has most of. Actually, she doesn't have most of her teeth now, but that's not my fault. The cat's doing just fine.
I mean,
So
as long as you remember to feed them, you'll probably do fine with a kid too.
it's funny. I just had the cat completely shaved, or like they call it a lion cut, where they leave the
Yeah,
head in the. Okay, which is hysterical.
right.
And I did it because my girlfriend is allergic, and she's so nice. I just sold my place and moved into her place, and she doesn't particularly like cats, and she's allergic. So this was a double whammy, and she was so kind to let the cat come, and the cat loves her, of course, but she's not that allergic, but allergic enough. So I thought, oh, by shaving the cat, and I had done this a few years ago, and I had forgotten the results. That's how like my memory's so bad. I went and got her shaved again. I had forgotten that when you do this, the dander actually now doesn't have as far to travel to get onto the floor, and so she was sick. She never has a reaction. She had a horrible reaction, and so I won't be doing that again. But
Oh
I
my
got
gosh.
yeah, it was really funny. But I mean, not funny. It was sad for her. But the funny part was, I forgot that people on social media, in particular, Twitter in my case, people, like I'm as judgmental as the next person, but I try to only be judgmental if it's interesting or funny or if I'm right. But so I wrote, it was like $80 to get this cat shaved, and I honestly I really did it because I thought it would be funny, but also because I thought it would help. I actually less hair around. I thought that
Sure.
would be better. And many, not more than probably 5 or 10, but about 5 or 10 people wrote me, and they were like, "That's really mean to do that." As if a cat has the ability to process mean when it comes to like shaving them. The cat doesn't
Wait,
care.
they said that it was mean to shave the cat?
Well, oh yeah. Oh, I got lots of
I mean, if
horrible.
you declawed the cat or,
Yeah, well, yeah, and I did decline the the front clause, but that I had to, but that was years ago. But yes, but that one's more understandable because you are taking some of their hand away, but it's like taking away their fingers up to the second knuckle. That's what the decline is. But I did, and I don't feel bad about that. But I could understand that much more than the shaving. And people, we all just put our own feelings into like
sure.
things that don't have those kind of feelings.
Right.
But it is hysterical. The cat just looks so funny.
I mean, look, if the cat looks funny, you have to do it because
Well, that was my tweet. I said this was worth the $80, even if just for the laughs, and that's that
absolutely.
the ire of a few people.
Oh my God, whatever. No, I mean,
Well,
if
I
you
don't
can
care.
make your animals look funny, I think that as pet owners, I mean, we have an obligation to do that shit.
All right. Well, I have an obligation to let you go because you have obligations with your family,
I
and also you have to tell now seven children that they will not be moving. So no, I'm
them all
teasing.
out for ice cream or,
There you
yeah,
go.
heroin sprinkles or something. They'll be fine.
Ah, well, don't relapse on
I'm
account
kidding,
of me.
everybody.
Well, it's only 11 and a half years. You're time for a new adventure.
Yeah.
Um,
Thank you so much for having me on your show. I've enjoyed
yeah,
talking to you, DJ.
thank you. Everyone go visit lovemorningwood.com and also on Facebook. It's Morning Tara Wood. And find Tara Wood. She's super funny. She's a great writer, and she's obviously a very good mother. And thank you so much for being on the show.
Thanks for having me. I enjoyed
And
it.
say goodbye.
Bye bye, everyone.